Hello. All right. So, gonna make this video public once again. So, if you are from the YouTube side of things, I make a post on Reddit. It's on the DF Sports subreddit. Gets a lot of traction. Um, thousands of comments a day. Past few days hasn't been a ton of comments just because a lot of people stopped playing NBA during the playoffs because of showdown slates. There's no more main slates, so I expected the traffic to die down a little bit. But normally for regular season, I'll be doing this for NFL as well. There's going to be hundreds and hundreds of people that come to these posts. We talk strategy, we do everything. I update the post with all the news that comes out. I give a core absolutely free, no money needed. So yeah, I've been a winning player in DFS for a decent amount of time now. So And I also show my lineups, so you will know if I'm a losing player, if I'm winning, how much I'm winning, how I'm doing. No bullshit, no face screen covering my balance, no nothing. I show you my lineups every night, no bullshit. You'll see if the content I'm giving is worth it. And like I said, come over here, ask me anything. I reply with speed of lightning, and I give cores for multiple sports. I give cores for NASCAR, give cores for USFL, give cores for NBA. We'll be giving cores for NFL. Might be doing cores for PGA. I gave a core for PGA the other day. Yesterday, that is absolutely smashing. So let's go over my lineups from tonight. So let's get into this. Also, if you're new here from YouTube, I'm not professional at all. I will never ask you to follow me. Will never ask you to pretty much do anything. Um, I curse a lot. I talk shit a lot. I tilt a lot. Um, I'm unfiltered. You can ask me anything. Don't give a shit. Don't care about follows. Just love to talk DFS basically. All right, let's go over my lineups from tonight while I reply to people. So we can go over the showdown. We can go over PGA first. This is my PGA right now. Noren did miss the cut, so I'm expecting to drop a little bit. Unless Jordan Spieth and McIntyre absolutely go off, I still have a chance to bink. But it's definitely harder with only 5 or 6 making the cut. But I have JT who's in third. I have Zalatoris who is in first. I have I don't know how to say his last name, Mito, who is in second, and the core. What was the core? Let me find the core. The PGA core was JT, who absolutely is smashing. Spieth, who is doing fine. Zalatoris, who is absolutely smashing at low ownership, and McIntyre, who is also smashing at low ownership. Let's go back to the post today. So yeah, it's probably going to be a pretty big day with PGA, assuming JT, Zalatoris, and Mito continue to smash. I'm not expecting to stay in the top 5, but I'm definitely expecting to stay in the top 10 at least. So yeah, PGA lineup is going phenomenally. We can go over the 2-game slate that ended today. So the core that I gave out for this was Jimmy Butler, who had a underwhelming game, Otto Porter Jr., Kevon Looney, and Gabe Vincent, who all absolutely smashed. They were all needed. Rounded out my lineup with Tyler Hero, Luka Doncic, Reggie Bullock, and Andrew Wiggins. Absolute smash there. Cashed in that. Let's go over the showdown slate. the core that I gave today for the showdown slate was Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney, and Otto Porter Jr. I gave a core of 5. All 5 absolutely smashed. Same thing here. Give a core of Wiggins, Luka, Curry, Looney, and Otto Porter Jr. All who absolutely smashed. All who were must as well. Let's go over now the 2-game slate that started today. So the core that I gave out for this was Luka Doncic, Otto Porter Jr., Kevon Looney, and Gabe Vincent. All who absolutely smashed outside of Gabe Vincent, who has yet to play. Just make sure if Kyle Lowry is in fact in, you pivot off Gabe Vincent. Hopefully you left yourself enough salary to do so. I did. I can go to Grant. I can go to Tucker. I can go to whoever. So yeah, make sure you have enough salary to pivot if Kyle Lowry is in. And then I rounded out my lineup with Reggie Bullock, Andrew Wiggins, and Dorian Finney-Smith. So I made it a standpoint today to play Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith in the same lineup because I can, whenever I pick one, the other goes off, and whenever I pick the other goes off. I can never seem to get DFS or Bullock right, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna play them both. Luckily, they both smashed, so running good, definitely running good. So looking like just a smash day all around. So hope you guys had good nights. I know I've already talked to a lot of you who are absolutely smashing as well. If you guys ever want to post your winnings, like you can at me and you can post them, and I will retweet them for you. If you ever want to do that, that's completely fine. I'll retweet them. Get yourselves a little bit of exposure out there. You feel me? All right, let's go over these slates. So let me just enter these contests. Guys, always go small. On these showdown slates and these 2-game slates, there's no point in going big, even though we're absolutely smashing just every day. Just no point, really, in my eyes, to go big on these. This contest is phenomenal. If you guys aren't going to enter this, you should enter this. Pays out 25%, 1.5x min cash. Phenomenal. That's an insane payout. So that's a really good contest. So yeah, let's go over these slates real quick. Where am I? These are all just dummy lineups. Do not play them. They don't make sense. No point in playing them. They're just dummy lineups. All right, Miami at Boston. Boston. Where's Boston? 7th in pace and 2nd defensive rating. So, gonna be the same thing. Like, I'm gonna probably say the same things I do every video, but Jimmy Butler 10.8K is just a crime. He's just too cheap for the showdown slate. So once again, I'm really high on Jimmy Butler. I'm going to save more of the analysis for the 2-game slate, so I'm just going to say who I like for the showdown slate. Not going to go into why, but yeah, Jimmy Butler 10.8K is entirely too cheap. I think he looks like a really good option. I think he looks like the optimal captain as well. Bam Adebayo has been god awful. 8K does seem a little bit too cheap for him on a showdown slate, but just still nothing more than a contrarian play even at this price tag. Max Struss, I'll continue to fade. I'll continue to say this. He's fish food. 6.6K just doesn't have a ceiling at this price tag. Well, I think he's scoring dependent as well. So Max Struss, nothing more than a contrarian option to me. I definitely do prefer Tyler Herro for $200 cheaper. I think this price tag for Herro is definitely a pretty good one if Kyle Lowry is out. So I like Herro if Lowry is out. If Lowry is in, I still think Herro is playable, but he's definitely not a smash play at that price. Kyle Lowry himself, if he plays, we're just going to have to monitor it. Hamstrings are terrible to come back from. Normally, if he wasn't injured, This price tag would be an absolute abomination, and he would be entirely too cheap. But I'm definitely worried about that hamstring injury. We'll just reevaluate if he is in. And if you're from the YouTube side of things, make sure you check out this thread. I will update everything. So we're just going to assume he is out. PJ Tucker, Gabe Vincent, assuming Lowry is out, I think both stand out as two of the better value plays on this slate. Not much value on the Boston side of things. Expecting 35 plus minutes for PJ Tucker. He does play into play. Guy that can stuff the stat sheet and do a ton of things. Obviously, he's a good defender as well. So I think Tucker, Gabe Vincent both look really good on the showdown slate for value. Gabe Vincent would be an absolute must for me if Kyle Lowry is out. Let's go to the Boston side of things. Miami is 12th in pace, 4th in defensive rating. So Tatum 11.2K. Definitely do prefer Jimmy for the discount. But I definitely think you are probably going to want to play Tatum and Butler in your showdown lineup together, whether it be a captain, whether it be a util, doesn't really matter. Jaylen Brown being so close to Tatum in price definitely makes me prefer Tatum. But if you can't fit both, I definitely think Brown is a solid option at 9.4K. Al Horford, 7.8. I think is a fine price for him. I think it's solid, actually. He should be like an 8.5K player, I think, on a showdown slate. Good rebounder, guy that can stuff the stat sheet as well, good defender too. So I think Al Horford is definitely solid. I think Marcus Smart is much, much safer than Al Horford, but I think he's going to be a lot more popular. You guys knew I was super high on Marcus Smart on this slate. We had him core and everything, but if Marcus Smart's going to get all the ownership in GPPs, I might give a small lean to Al Horford. But if you're playing cash tomorrow, you definitely just play Marcus Smart most likely with how high his floor is. Robert Williams, 6.8K is nothing more than a filler play to me at this price tag. Probably only going to play around 25 minutes, but he'll be productive when he's on the court. But I don't think he 6.8K. You really need like 30 to 35 from him. Can he do that in 25 minutes? Yeah, absolutely. But he can definitely kill you at this price tag if he doesn't pay off. So I'm kind of indifferent on Robert Williams. I think he's a fine play, but not going to go out of my way to play him. Derek White out of play at that price tag with Marcus Smart back. Grant Williams 5'6", much prefer the value on the Miami side of things, but he'll probably play 30 to 35 minutes. He'll shoot threes, not do anything else basically. Get you a few rebounds, mainly out there for his defense. So 5.6K for Grant Williams definitely feels a little bit pricey to me. And then with Derek White back, Peyton Pritchard is completely out of play for me. And then not going to get to anyone else. I don't think there's any 1K punts or 3K punts that really make sense to me. Just nothing there at all. So let's go over the 2-game slate where I'll go more in depth about the analysis. I'll tell you why I like each player and whatnot. So Miami at Boston. I'm not going to go over pacer defensive rating. I already went over it. I'll do it for the last game. So Jimmy Butler, 9.4K. If Lowry's in, I might give a small lean to Tatum. I haven't looked at Tatum's price yet. Okay, they're about the same price. So if Lowry's in, I might give a little bit of edge to Tatum just because Kyle Lowry is going to be more ball dominant. I think the peripheral stats are going to go down a little bit with Butler as far as assists. As far as rebounds, he's obviously going to continue to be a good rebounder. But if Kyle Lowry's in, I definitely do prefer Tatum. But I think Butler is definitely still a good play at 9.4K with what he's doing in the playoffs right now and with how he's stuffing the stat sheet. And that tweet I saw, he said after the game he's going to watch the film and he's going to figure it out. He didn't say his team. He said I'm going to figure it out. Not we are going to figure it out. So I'm expecting Butler to bounce back here completely. Absolutely love Butler, even at this price tag. If Lowry's out, I absolutely love Butler. If Lowry's in, I definitely think I give a small lean to Tatum. But I think both are underpriced, and I think both look pretty good. Butler's going to play 40 plus minutes. Obviously, he's a good defender as well. Can get you blocks, steals. He's just a stat sheet stuffer. So it's Butler against the world. So yeah, definitely do like Butler. Bam Adebayo 6.6K is going to be extremely popular at this price tag. With how bad he's been, it's warranted that his price tag is this. But Bam Adebayo normally, if it was a different matchup, 6.6K is just going to be instant chalk. Um, I'm probably going to eat that chalk because DraftKings is going to tempt me with this price tag. But yeah, he's just too cheap. I don't care how bad he's been in the last two series. I really don't. He's just too cheap at this price tag. Um, so yeah, I definitely think Bam's solid. I don't think he's a must play with how bad he's been, but Miami fans are really going at Bam right now. I would expect him to bounce back here and be a little bit more aggressive than shooting 6 shots a game. So yeah, I think Bam definitely looks good at that price tag. Struss is fish food, not going to go there. If Kyle Lowry is out, Tyler Hero at 5.3K is just entirely too cheap. Assuming the game stays close, he probably plays around 30 minutes. And also, Miami fans are just hounding Tyler Hero to be more aggressive. So 5.3K for Hero if Kyle Lowry is out definitely is a pretty underpriced price tag for him. So I think he looks like a really good tournament option at that price tag. Kyle Lowry, like I said, we're just going to have to monitor the news here. If he's in, I'll make updates over on the Reddit and just make sure to look out for that. We're just going to assume he's out. Go over assuming he is out. And assuming Kyle Lowry is out, Gabe Vincent, price didn't move up enough. He's going to be an absolute must for me once again on this 2-game slate. So, probably going to play close to 30, 35 minutes. Guy that can stuff the stat sheet as well. He's going to get open looks with how Boston is defending Jimmy Butler. So it's up to him to really hit the shots. So Gabe Vincent, absolute must for it. I think he stands out as one of the better value plays on the slate here once again. And I think PJ Tucker at 4.2K is too cheap. Got hurt last game, but he expects to play. So I'd expect close to 35 minutes from him. Good rebounder, good defender. Can shoot corner threes as well. He's also going to have open looks. He just has to hit them. So I definitely think PJ Tucker is a pretty good value play. And I'll mention Dwayne Dedmon. He'll play the backup 5. And if Bam gets into foul trouble, he will definitely get extended. I definitely do think Dedmon is viable as a dart on this slate. Let's go over Boston now. Miami is 12th in pace, 4th in defensive rating. Let me take a sip of my lemonade. So like I said, all the studs on this slate look really, really good with how the pricing is. Like, Tatum should be above 10K. Jimmy Butler should be above 10K. Like I said, if Lowry's in, I definitely do prefer Tatum, but if Lowry's out, it's Butler by a mile. But yeah, Tatum, he's going to play 44 minutes. He's going to do everything for the team. Obviously, he's a good rebounder as well. And Miami just can't stop him. Like, they did good in the second half last game. He was absolutely smashing the first half, but he was absolutely smashing this game, and the game just blew out. So I think Tatum looks good. I think Jaylen Brown 8.6 is definitely fine. I'm assuming he's going to be popular once again, but he's $1,000 less expensive to Tatum now, so I definitely do prefer Tatum. So I think Brown is fine, but I definitely would rather just get up to Tatum. Marcus Smart's going to be an ownership thing for me. I think 7K is a little bit too pricey for him. This is just like, this is definitely an outlier. This is not his ceiling. His ceiling is like 45 to 50. And at 7K, if you're paying for a guy at 7K, you really want 40 plus from him. Now, Marcus Smart can definitely do that. Obviously, he's their ball handler, distributor, good defender too, so he can definitely stuff the stat sheet and get you up there. Well, I think his floor is fine. The price definitely doesn't stand out to me. I think it's a fine option, but I think he's going to be a little bit overowned at that price tag. So I honestly don't want anything to do with Marcus Smart on this slate, assuming he's going to continue to get ownership. Al Horford 6.3K, I'd just much rather play him over Smart. If Al Horford's going to be a fraction of the ownership of Smart, just give me Al Horford. Al Horford had a pretty bad game last game, but he's had about a day and a half to rest after being out with an illness. So I'm assuming he might be a little bit better here. Obviously, we know everyone on Boston is a good defender, so I don't have to say Al Horford's a good defender. Obviously, he's a good rebounder as well. He can stuff the stat sheet too. He'll have open looks as well. So I think I prefer Al Horford to Smart on this slate. Robert Williams, nothing more than contrarian play to me at that price tag. Just you're paying 5.6K for a guy to get you close to 30. Now he can do that in 25 minutes, but I don't think it's likely. He's not going to average 1.25 fantasy points a minute. It's just not going to happen. Derek White out of play with Smart back for me at that price tag. Peyton Pritchard now out of play with Derek White back. Grant Williams 4.6K I think is a fine option, but probably expecting around 30, 35 minutes. I definitely do prefer PG Tucker for cheaper, and I definitely do prefer Gabe Vincent. But if you want to go to Grant Williams because he'll be lower owned than those two, I definitely don't hate it. But he's more out there for his defense. So not going to go out of my way to play Grant Williams. Golden State Dallas. So I haven't looked at pricing yet for this, but all the all the studs look good. They all look phenomenal. Dallas is where's Dallas? 13th in pace and 7th in defensive rating. So yeah, Steph Curry 9-3. They're all the studs on this slate are underpriced. It's a matter of just picking which ones you're gonna get right, right? So Steph Curry is gonna play close to 40 minutes. With how Golden State is distributing the ball and with how much they're passing now, he's going to stuff the stat sheet a lot more than he would have earlier in the season. So I think Steph actually has a decently high floor now with an insane ceiling. So I think he looks great. I don't have a lean on who I like between Steph, Tatum, and Butler. I really don't. Obviously, Luka is the alpha, but between those three, I really don't have a lean on who I like the most. Klay Thompson, 7-2. Nothing more than a tournament option for me. I definitely don't like paying 7.2K for guys that are pretty reliant on scoring. So nothing more than a tournament option for me. Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, I think both look like two of the better plays in the mid-range on this slate. Two guys that are going to play huge minutes, more so Andrew Wiggins because Gary Payton is out. With Gary Payton out, Andrew Wiggins is their best perimeter defender, so he's going to be locked in for just huge minutes. So he's too cheap at 6K. I think he stands out as one of the best plays in the mid-range on the slate. Same with Draymond Green. And I think Jordan Poole at 5.8K is just a crime. I don't get it. I really don't. These three guys in Draymond, Wiggins, and Poole all look really, really good. They're all completely underpriced. I don't know why Jordan Poole is 5.8K. Probably going to play close to 30 minutes. He can do pretty much everything for them as well. Obviously, we know he's a phenomenal scorer too. So I don't get this price tag. I really don't. So I think these three main guys look really good in the mid range. And then Kevon Looney, once again, is an absolute must for me. So let's take a look at the minutes tonight. So Jordan Poole played 30, Klay Thompson 37, Kevon Looney 32, Otto Porter Jr. 24. So yeah, if he's going to continue to play over 30 minutes, 4.7K is just too cheap for him. With how Dallas is terrible against opposing bigs, and with how good of a rebounder Looney has been, he should be 5.5 to 6K. So Looney looks like an absolute lock for me, and I think Otto Porter Jr. looks great as well. Like I said, with Dallas being terrible against opposing bigs, Otto Porter Jr. is just going to feast on the glass. Give me 25 minutes of Otto Porter Jr. over 35 minutes of PJ Tucker. So, yeah, love Otto, love Looney. And then I'm probably not going to get to anyone else. Let's go over the Dallas side of things. Warriors are 4th in pace. 6th in defensive rating. So Luka is a must for me personally. I personally think you go Luka, another star value, and then one mid-range play. Don't have to go over why Luka's a phenomenal play. Absolutely love him here. Brunson finally had his ceiling game tonight. Let's take a look at his stat sheet. So he had 31, 5, and 7. Now I definitely think that is an outlier. I don't think that's going to happen again. But I think he's normally going to live in that 25 to 35 point fantasy point range, which at 6.7K I don't feel like is enough for me. I think he's a safe play. But after having a ceiling game, I think it's more inclined for me to want to fade him since ownership is definitely going to go up. I think Dinwiddie is finally playable now that the price went down, but I definitely don't love it. Um, he's only going to play about 20 minutes, and he's not going to be one of the higher usage guys on the court. So still a contrarian play for me, but I definitely think he's playable. And then once again, Dorian Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock, I think both look like pretty good value plays. They're both not going to. Let's look at the minutes. Reggie Bullock played 44 minutes tonight, and Dorian Finney-Smith played 42. When you have guys playing 44 plus minutes in a game, I don't care how low usage they are, they should be priced above 5K. So Dorian Finney-Smith, Bullock, I think stand out as two really good plays in the mid-range. Kleber had a terrible game tonight. Ownership's going to drop, but I'm still expecting around 30 minutes from him. An okay rebounder, okay shooter. So I have no issues with Kleber. I definitely do like him as a pivot off Chalk Otto Porter Jr. I definitely think that is a really good pivot in tournaments that you can definitely do because I think Kleber is going to be very low owned after what he did tonight to a lot of people. So yeah, I think that is it, guys, for the breakdown. Um, Hope you guys had a good night, and I will talk to you. Oh, if you're on YouTube side of things, go over to the subreddit. I'll have a USFL core up. I'll have an NBA core up. I'll have a showdown core up, and then tomorrow I will have a NASCAR core up. So, yeah, I hope you guys had a good night, and I will talk to you tomorrow.